have your personal connections. Your parents will have family friends. You have grown up with your, cousins, aunts, uncles, add them all. And then your parents' colleagues and neighbors. Your neighborhood will have a lot of people that you meet. Once you create your LinkedIn, go connect with them. Okay. Don't ever underestimate those connections. They're all working in so many different jobs, so many different
So many different
companies.
jobs, so many different companies.
Somebody's got their, yeah, thank you. All those connections also are going to help you a lot. And then once you start working, I know there's a couple of eighth graders and a couple of them seniors and college students. Once you get your first internship, just don't keep it to an email, getting an accolade or a recommendation from there, right? Whoever you meet in your first internship, so all of these are the industry connections. So start adding them. Or let's say you are going to so many events now and doing a lot of work there as a volunteer, right? So if you meet someone there, remember their names, go add them on LinkedIn and connect with them. So that also grows with you, right? All of those connections, because they've seen you, they know you, connect with them. Let's say you go to, you really you go to certain, um, what can I say, conferences or even competitions, and you meet certain people there and you really like the work that they've done or they showcase something. I'm sure they'll have a LinkedIn profile. Add them, connect with them, see what they're doing. It's good to learn, it's good to connect, and just say, you know what, today I saw you at the conference. I really liked what you talked about, and just send them a note. That's a connection. They will really appreciate that, and they'll remember that you really went back and did something different than anyone else, right? So the three types of connections: your school connections, your personal connections, and your industry connections, right? So you can connect with all of them, list them in the worksheet. Now, prioritize. Who are your top 5 contacts? Who will most likely respond to you? Who's in your target industry? Like, you've worked on your resume, you know what kind of jobs you're looking for. Try to map them and see who's in the position to offer any advice or even make an introduction when you're looking at a job, right? If you don't know that, what happens is, let's say tomorrow you're going to start looking for jobs. Then you're going to go look into your connections and see who's there. You probably will send a message to them. They might take, not everyone's checking the LinkedIn or messages every day, right? So you want to make sure like you reach out to them proactively and ask them, if this comes through, can you help me? Or I'm having issues with this because you have experience in this space. Can you help me? Right? So think through who those contacts are and write them down. Or, like I said, have an Excel sheet, open it up, put it in there, who those people are. Okay. Um, and then quantity is not really required. It's the quality of your connections that's very important. Okay. Instead of having hundreds of generic connections, having 5 meaningful or 10 meaningful connections is going to be more value to you than having those generic connections. Okay. So keep that in mind too. Okay. Over the next slide, Priyaji.
I have a hand raised.
Oh, sorry. I was not looking at that. I was looking at the sheet. Go ahead. Please ask the question.
Hi,
Rohit?
is oh yes. Hi. I didn't see your email address, so I was wondering if you could just share that again.
Sure. I can do that. There. I typed it.
Okay, thank you.
And I see
Awesome.
Rohit also has hand raised.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I did. But thanks for having me anyway. I'm not a college student, but I found this very informative. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Awesome. All right. We'll go to the next slide. how to reach out. Okay, now that you've put down all of your contacts in there, right? How do you reach out to them without sounding too desperate or awkward, or like, how would you want to reach out to them, right? How do you make yourself stand out and make them want to respond to you and spend time in helping you too? The key is asking for information, not directly jobs. Okay. This is why you want to build the connections earlier. You're requesting an informational, saying, "Can I have a conversation with you? I want to learn about like the career path you're on. I want to get some advice." And writing, like figuring out what you want to say to that person. I think somebody's needs to mute, I think there. Thank you. So you want to like create even a template for yourself, right? I will email, I mean, it's there. I think I put it in your worksheet too. Like, what can you write? Think of a good subject line, informational interview request, UW student, or whatever student. That's plenty, right? And then introduction, explain who you are and how you found them. Say like, I'm a junior at UW studying finance and I found your profile through alumni network, and then have a connection point. If you have something in common, mention it, like, or say, I noticed that you studied with this senior at school, and I've also worked with them. Or I saw that I saw your recent post on a data analytics thing that you wrote, and it was super impressive. Do your homework on that person, right? If it really interests you, then do your homework on looking at their LinkedIn, pasting their name on Google and seeing if they have any research papers or anything that they've written. Just do a little bit of work. There's so much out there that you can't see. Okay, so do that and then add it in your connection point. That is very important to mention. Like, I noticed you also studied at this university, or I saw your recent post about this, or I saw this paper that you wrote. And then that's like a hook statement, right? Then the ask, be specific and respectful of their time. Don't write a huge message, make it very short. Just say, I'd love to learn about your career path and get your advice on breaking into the finance industry. Would you have like 20, 30 minutes for a quick phone call? Would it over the next few weeks? I'm fine, anytime. Even 15 minutes would be great, right? And then that'll be your ask. That's what you want to ask them. Like, hey, I need help with this, whatever that help is, and put that in there. Okay. You can also like put in some times there, or you can keep it open. Either works. And ask for, I would say, give a time, like give 4 or 5 slots in there, and say, if none of these work, please let me know what works, right? So it makes it easier instead of them going and opening the calendar, then thinking through. So just put in some times and just say, here are the few times that I have available. Please let me know if these work. If not, what time works. Then always close it up, say thank you. Thank you for considering the request and looking forward to getting a response from you. Okay. So keep it short, no more than few paragraphs. You know, they and when you write these, uh, please make an effort to read through what you wrote. Check your grammar, check everything that you're writing in there. I know I'm big about saying, if you don't know how to write it, there are examples out there that you can leverage if you just Google about it, or write what you want to write, then put it in any AI tool and say, can you proofread this for me? And it'll proofread it for you and call out like, what are the things? And when it proofreads, right? If it's caught something, it's a good way for you to learn too. Like, okay, what did I do wrong? Where? Ask it a question mark. And that's a good way for you to learn. Like next time, you might not need it, but you learn like what those little things that we've missed and make and strengthen it nicely. Okay. Um, and then um, once you do and they respond and you start a conversation with them, during the conversation, just let them know I'm going to take my notes. Hope that's okay. And then go in prepared with good amount of questions that you want to ask them. Okay. Um, and then after your conversation, always write a nice email saying, I really loved and enjoyed our conversation. This is what I learned from this conversation, and send a nice thank you note. It should be good if you do it like within 24 hours, right? Um, what happens is when you do that, it shows your dedication and the real importance of why you've done it, and they will start believing that you really. There's a lot of people who send me random messages, and I do make an effort to respond to every message I get. But then they come back to me like weeks later, and I'm like, okay, this person's not really interested. Unless they come back and say, I'm sorry, I had these issues. Can I still connect? That's fine. But so just make sure you stand out different and you are doing these steps. Okay. And here's the magic. If the conversation goes well, you can ask, is there anyone else you'd recommend I can speak with for this area? Or um, is there anything else I can do? Or if you really enjoyed their conversation and you still need to ask them more questions, you can say, thank you for this one-time mentorship call, or uh, is it okay if I can reconnect with you whenever time permits, right? That's the key to expand and stay in connection. So just make sure you ask those important questions. Okay. All that's listed in the module 2 of the sheet 2. So please do look at that. I'm going to pause. Any questions on that? Perfect. Okay. Going on to the next slide, Priyaji. Now, building your professional bench. Okay. Networking isn't just about getting a job. It's about building a support system for your entire career. Okay. You need mentors. Mentors are so important in any job that you would do. Okay. There are 4 types of mentors that I've seen. One is a peer mentor, one is an academic mentor, then you can get a professional mentor, and a champion or an anchor mentor. And I'll go through like what each one and why they will help you. Okay. A peer mentor is someone who has 1 to 2 years ahead of you. They remember what it's like to be in your shoes and can offer practical, recent advice to you all. Okay. Maybe it's a senior, it's your or somebody you worked in a workshop with, or a club, or you got your or someone's got a internship and then you worked with you've known them, and it's the same field that you want to get into. Those are your peer mentors. So keep your mind open and always think through like who could be that peer mentor for me, right? um, I know there was some who joined who were 8th graders. So think about some high schoolers, 9th graders too here, seniors, the seniors, whoever has passed out to, or studying in colleges that you want to get into, or you want to ever intern. If there's someone who's doing that, try to look for those people. Okay. And again, same thing. Once you find those people that you want to, do what we just talked about in module 2. Reach out to them, ask them for help. So that's why that section before is important. The next is academic mentors. Your teacher, in college, your professor, your counselors, or an advisor who knows your academic strengths and can guide you with your educational decisions. Um, and someone who can also write recommendations and make introductions. Your academic mentors are also super important. So you should connect with them, talk to them, always have a touch point with them, and showcase what you're doing and ask them questions. It's not just going in and saying, "Hi, how are you?" and showing, but go in again, do the steps, write down what you've done, showcase what you've done. That gives them an understanding of what you've been doing. And if they do ever have to recommend you, then it's easy for them to write about you, right? So every time you connect with some of them, make sure you are going in prepared of giving them a hook of like what or a snapshot of what you've done so far or accomplished. Okay. Next is your professional mentors. Okay. Someone, um, let's say you're targeting a specific career field. Okay. So look at those people like within the first module we did, who fits into that career field of yours. Or go to your parents and say, "This is where I am. I'm not able to find anyone within the people that I've listed, but I need your help to find a professional mentor in this space," right? They will definitely find someone within their circle, and or like we're such a big group here at VT Seva. I think if someone reaches out to another person, someone will actually reach out and help you with those things, right? Um, these are people who have solid experience in the area that they've moved into, I mean, or working in. So, you want to ask them like good strategic advice. Okay. What if I do this? What if I don't do this? Will this help? Will that help? Um, in my earlier career, if I've forgotten certain things, um, when I was studying, what else can I do to help do better in those areas, right? Um, or asking them what really helped you, or how are you doing good at your job, things like that. So those are the people who are professional mentors. Try to have at least one or two professional mentors, okay? And then champion or anchor mentors. This is your longtime advocate, someone senior who believes in you, and will open doors throughout your career. This relationship will take time to build, and it's incredibly valuable, right? So, and I have quite a few mentors who I've started working with early on, and these mentors have moved, with experience. They're going to go into bigger companies, better roles, and their network grows too, right? So let's say you are in college, you get your first internship job, um, and you find you have a good mentor who's there, and you finish your first internship, then get into the first job. That's a year and a half, but you've known this person for a while. They would have grown, they know what you've been doing through that 1.5 year, and you want to look for the next job. They proactively will send, "Hey, I know this other person who works for Google, or this friend of mine works for this, Salesforce or any other company," and then say, "Let me send a recommendation and recommend you over to this particular job." So it doesn't just stay with them and their company, but since they know you so well, they'll be happy to vouch for you and then send it to their network. That's huge. That's why you need some of these, start building some of these mentorships early on, and start building these relationships early on, and continue to be there through these relationships. Um, I want to also call out, just don't talk to them just for that second and then not ever connect with them, and then go to them and only ask for help when you need. I don't think that's a nice way to build relationships. Send them like happy Diwali message, or have it Happy Thanksgiving touch point. Figure out what you want to do as a touch point with some of these people and make sure you are, you're reaching out to them, or just say once in a year, some of them, or once in every quarter, depending whatever it is, like where you need to get that help, you know, try to create those touch points. Be mindful about how you want to build that relationship and keep continuing those conversations. Okay. What else did I want to go over? If you look at your, worksheets, it does break it down there too. And you can write down like who are your potential mentors in each of those categories, then create a relationship plan. How often will you connect? What will you ask them about? And then how will you show appreciation? Okay. Remember, mentorship is a two-way street. Okay. Look for ways to add value. Share articles they might find interesting. Also, like if you've done something, projects, your successes from something that you learned from them, send them a message. Let them know, like, hey, whatever you taught me helped me here. And that's the way you build a relationship. And they're going to be happy too. And sometimes they might learn something from you too. And I have right now at work, just work, I have 20 mentees. Mentees meaning 20 recruiters and program managers, product managers who come to me, ask for help, suggestions. How do I work through this? I'm struggling in this area. Can you help me if you have anything that you can help in this? Or they write a doc and say, can you help me to review this document? Is there any other perspective? Do you think leaders will ask any questions? So, and they continue to come back and give me feedback saying, whatever you did here helped me, or this is an area that I still need help with, things like that. So, and that helps me also go into the conversation, like, where can I help them? Okay. So, any questions around that mentorship piece and why it's important? Awesome. Okay. The last module for this section, I know Abhi would have joined. I'm sorry I'm running late, but the last section is interview framework and practice. This is where everything comes together, right? Your mentorship, your resume, everything that you've put together in the last 3 sessions is going to come together, right? Most interviewers will ask behavioral questions, and always think through the STAR format method. I put it in your worksheet too. Situation. When you're writing your examples out, think through the STAR format. What was the situation? Set the context. Where were you? What was happening in that particular example that you're going to give them? What's the task? What was your responsibility? What needed to be done? Action. What specific steps did you take? And where did you focus your actions on? There is always something that I wanted to call out here. I sit on every debrief for every interview that I have with my candidates. My candidates always talk about, we did this, we did that. I mean, they want to know what you did too. So make sure you're talking about the we. Yes, teamwork is great, but they also want to know the I part of it. Like, what did you do specifically in that example? So make sure you do talk about we, but also talk about I in that example of what you do. So when you write an example, make sure you write the I part of it too. Okay. And then always end it with a result. You should have a quantifiable result for your example. What was your outcome? In the quality if possible, right? Like, what did you learn from that? Or sometimes not all examples need to be like, amazing. You can say, this situation happened and it was a miss on my side, but I learned from this situation and I created a process for me next time, and I was able to be successful because I created these things from this particular situation. That's a good example too. Learning from a mistake and then creating a process and then becoming successful is also good. Don't take it as a bad thing, okay? But it's how you articulate that whole thing, right? So make sure you are using the STAR method. And again, like write down your examples on an Excel sheet, wherever you want to. Um, Write it in the STAR method, throw it into any chat GPT or AI, and always say, stay true to what I've done, and tell me if there's any proofreading or anything else that I could add to these examples, and list out what I need to do where. Okay. Don't ask it to correct your examples because it'll do whatever it feels like. But you want to make sure you say, just stay true to my examples and numbers in here and tell me if there's anything I need to add. And it'll explain to you like why it thinks this is not good enough, or this doesn't have a result, or this has something or not. So then you'll think through, okay, um, that's kind of like prepping for an interview too, because it'll kind of give you like some feedback, and you're like strengthening that particular example and also thinking through a different lens. So you can leverage it too. One thing, I keep telling you to leverage AI. I'm not asking you to just use it and blindly read out or think that whatever it spewed out is the right thing. It can hallucinate and give you all kinds of different answers. They're not sometimes the right answers. So you want to make sure you are leveraging it. And why I'm telling you to use AI is I have been even across all companies now, AI fluency is important. Okay. So they want to know um, when you used AI, they will ask you, like, how did you use AI for this and this? And what are some things that you see that it does not do right and it does right? Um, if you ask it to, you put some numbers in there, it'll hallucinate and give you all kinds of fun numbers and make you look beautiful. But that's actually not the truth, right? So you have to tell them, like, yeah, I've used this, but it does this wrong and this wrong. So I make it specifically ask certain things. So be careful of that. Please ask your parents or learn about what those hallucination with AI means, and then try to leverage AI based on that. Okay. That ends my interview prep part of it. Avinash, are you on the call?
Yeah, hi.
Thank you. Would you want to hop on video with me?
Yep, I think I'm unknown user for some reason, but my video's
There.
on. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. So today's guest speaker is Avinash Bodu, and I will let him introduce himself first.
Yeah, sure. Overall, grew up in India, but I was born in New Jersey. And I've been sort of casually interested in computers from a young age. Both my parents are computer scientists. And I went to UW for college. Initially started aiming for a math program, applied math program, but eventually shifted into computer science. I got into Amazon in my freshman year for an internship, and then switched to Microsoft in sophomore year. And yeah, I've been in Microsoft since, working in Outlook Data.
Thank you, Avinash, for the introduction. So again, just recapping, he studied at University of Washington, UW, did his computer science there. He did his internship at Amazon, and then now a full-time job at Microsoft. And reason I wanted him to come today was to go over what we just talked about, right? Because this encompasses, and he did get a great internship at Amazon and a full-time job at Microsoft. And I wanted to ask him, like, what the first question I'm going to ask you, Avinash, is it, when you did get your internship, what did you do and how did you get your first internship at Amazon?
Yeah. So at that time it was all, I mean, same as now, it's all online. And I there were a few important things when it comes to getting the internship, especially that early on.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, just on the academic side, I'd say that we have your whatever university you're in, there's going to be some sort of class called data structures and algorithms, or you might have a data structures class and an algorithms class. This is you should consider this basically a prerequisite to getting any internship. This is the stuff that like all the leak codes you see are built on, everything. And I had some college credits going in, so I was able to take that class early on, and of course do things like leak codes and projects and things like that, which of course helped me throughout the interviews and throughout the resume stage and everything. In high school, I had various projects which I had done on the CS side. In particular, I made a game with some friends, which was one of the technical things I was able to speak to, and I was also able to talk about some of the work I had done during freshman year. One of the things that UW does for their Intro to CS courses, at least they did it at that time, was they would have you do a specific project with people on like a relatively smaller scale course. So this, for me, what I had done was a Chrome extension, which essentially the idea was that it would identify misinformation and link to the relevant like PolitiFact article, things like that. This was before GPT, so the way it worked was substantially different, but this was something I was able to speak to during my interview.
Amazing. Today we talked about networking and mentorship a lot, just before you joined. So wanted to ask, what did you do, and is it helpful or not, or was it helpful or not?
Yeah, I think definitely there's a lot of value in networking and mentorship. I feel like for me, I just call it talking to people, but I think that especially once you're in the workforce, keeping that up is important just for like the basic what is going on in this company, right? Especially in these really big companies, that you're not just automatically going to know the bigger picture. Depending on your manager, depending on the people around you, they might share more, share less. And when you understand a bit more about like what are the things which are considered routine in this company, what is hard to do, what is easy to do, right? For example, in Microsoft, in Outlook at least, one of the hard things that people talk about is creating new services, whereas, so like spinning up a new web service or something, right? Whereas in a place like Amazon, this is considered very easy, right? And these are things you only really learn from talking to people, and it helps you navigate what you want to do, how do you explain what was impressive or interesting about your work, things like that.
Awesome. How did you, I know you said you like computer science and but was there anything that shaped your thought process on like why you like this, and how did you choose this particular field for yourself?
Yeah, so I'd always been like casually interested in computers, but it was more in terms of like, oh, I enjoy playing games, things like that. And I initially had been planning to go more into like math side, applied math or pure maths. But during university, I kind of realized that I I actually prefer the sort of more immediate feedback of doing computer science, where you write code and it's something which is there and you can see it running, right?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to math, which is still valuable but not as concrete,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of why I made the shift into computer science.
Awesome. I know there was a question I asked you to write, and I'll send these slides out to everyone, but what skills mattered more than you expected?
Yeah. For me, I think writing is the biggest skill. I think it's super underrated honestly, in like offices in general, but especially in computer science. I think a lot of the times especially the software engineers are allowed to get away with writing pretty poor quality documents sometimes. And if you're able to like write just a little bit above like the typical level, if you're able to communicate your ideas clearly in a written document, it's many more people are going to read it. It's going to be talked about more. You're going to be able to get your ideas considered more seriously. There's a lot of times where um, I have written ideas or frameworks or things like that inside documents and have a lot of my like senior developers and things were willing to like read that, and it's a lot easier for them to read that as opposed to like setting up another meeting to talk about things.
I just want to emphasize on writing here too. In my experience, it starts from your resume, your LinkedIn profile, um, the importance of having your grammar right. How do you articulate it right? How do you write what your resume to be impactful? Just not saying I led a team or I went to this volunteering program and I helped, kids. That's
Yeah.
not good enough, right? Like you say, I've gone to this volunteering program which does X thing and I've helped 30 kids or 40 kids or whatever that number is. Like you quantify it and write it well, right? And that's kind of why I index on, like, if you don't know how to do that, you need to start like thinking through that lens. And first, anytime you do any writing, write your whole doc out, write your thought process out, write your resume out, and then use tools to say proofread. Now you have tools. And if you're not leveraging those tools and you still send grammar mistakes or not writing, very good statements or writing a good doc, like Avinash mentioned, even at work, if you don't build on that skill from now, um, you're going to fall behind. Everyone's using it, everyone's like standing up, everyone's leveraging some of these to stand. You all have the work, but how do you make it how do you showcase is through writing, it's through communication. So these two are super important, and I want you to start thinking of that from now. And if you want help from people, how do you do that? Find mentors in that space who can help you. And once you get to like understanding how to do it, then you're great. But it's an important skill that everyone looks. All my hiring managers, even at senior positions, when I send resumes, they will call out saying, this person didn't even put enough effort into writing their resume good. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh, that
definitely.
tells about you as a person, right? So you want to be careful about those things because as a recruiter, when I know like someone's got great skill, but they can't articulate it well, then I'll tell them like, hey, here are the things that you need to go make edits on, and this is how you think through it. But this was in the age where we didn't have these tools in place. Now there's so many tools out there that are free that can help you with this. And if you still send a resume that's not aligned well or has typos in it or has grammar errors in it, they're going to think about they're already like, okay, this person's out. It's they're thinking through that lens. So just make sure you're very good at how you put your details in there. It's not just this. Anything that you do, always double check. Don't do it in haste. think through. These are all important decisions in life when you do such things. So please make sure you are. Okay.
Yeah.
Abhi, I
On the
wanted, yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
just on the resume point, I wanted to also mention that part of this is understanding the audience in this case, where people who are reading these resumes, a lot of the times they're scanning through hundreds of resumes, especially at like the lower, the entry level positions, and to a certain extent, that also requires making the resume sort of pleasant to scan, which can be a skill which you develop. I can share one link. This goes a bit more deep into typography and like how do you format things well, things like that. But just for like some basic tips of like, okay, what sorts of fonts might be good? These are like they feel like, oh, just presentation things, but ultimately it makes it easier to read, right? And that's something which can be valuable.
Agree. A lot of us don't think about that, but it's so much because remember I told you in the last session, it takes 6 seconds for us to glance through as a recruiter for your resume. So you want to make sure you have the right summary, executive summary, the right details in each of your roles. So it's very, very key. Even how you structure your resume. You don't want to write paragraphs and paragraphs of things where I'm like, okay, this is too much, right? So thank you for sharing that, Avinash. Avinash, the other thing that I've been telling everyone is having mentors and connections is important. Has that helped you ever throughout your whole journey here to get to Microsoft? If you can just shine some light on that.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, for me, like especially because my parents are both in CS, they were kind of my first mentors with a lot of this. But even outside of that, no, being able to talk to people about what sort of stuff is valuable, getting their feedback on the company specific things, the industry specific things, the field specific things, like, okay, how do people approach these sorts of problems usually can be very helpful. Getting people's opinions on your work can be helpful to judge from a more objective point of view of how you're performing, right? As well as knowing like what is normal, what is not normal. Things like that can be very valuable. I'd say that especially today, when things are changing so much, being able to like get your ideas and your thoughts validated by people is extremely valuable. Just so you can quickly know, okay, how does this sound to someone else, right? You can quickly know, okay, maybe you're in a team where my boss is asking me to do X, Y, Z. I feel like overwhelmed? How do I deal with that? Or different things like that. There's a lot of different strategies which can help you approach things better, which I think is kind of where learning this through mentorship can be very valuable because it's more specific to your specific circumstances.
Thank you so much. I'm going to pause. I won't ask any more questions, but I would love anybody from like anyone who's joined the call, if they have any questions for either of us, you can hop on and ask questions. Anyone? Any questions? Everyone's awfully quiet today.
Hey, not
Yeah,
a
I'll ask a
question.
question.
but,
This is Rohit.
okay, go ahead.
Oh, Sudhir, I have a question. Let me ask a question quick, then you can make your comment.
Uh-huh.
Because you guys are talking about Amazon and Microsoft, big tech companies. How
Mhm.
much does like an internal referral carry weight for some of the positions that have literally hundreds of applicants? When you refer someone internally, is that really meaningful, or is that just another like, another layer that everyone else is doing anyway?
For internships, it's a great question. There are
I meant for like
we,
one-off hiring, like for like a senior position that they're probably hiring one or two people for
oh
a
my gosh,
referral or something.
referrals are going to be super important.
Yeah. Okay.
That I would say in this day and age, if you know someone who can refer you to those roles, that's super, super important. And that's kind of why I wanted all of these kids to learn the importance of those connections, building your LinkedIn profile and starting at an early age. Also trying to get, you know, the other thing too, and I'm gonna just quickly probably share my screen and walk you through my own resume. Let me see. Do I have access to share screen? I think so. One second. No, sorry, it's doing. Okay. Can you see my LinkedIn profile?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. I'm a recruiter, and there are probably millions of recruiters out there. Okay. And there are recruiters who are there in India, like customer service people who used to call and, talk to the same candidates. But how do I differentiate myself to being someone who's different from others? And how do I build my profile for other to showcase that I'm different, right? I didn't start my journey probably. I mean, I did, I guess. I quickly jumped into LinkedIn as soon as it was introduced. But if you see, the one thing that when I do work with certain people that I've helped them find a job, or if they ask me like, can I do anything to help you? I'll be like, can you send me a recommendation? Right? I have over 50 recommendations here across many years. And you can go and check it. I can put it in the thing. But each one's talked about different aspects. Some are my customer, some of them are my business partners, some of them are my recruiters who reported into me. Some of them are candidates who I have placed and what I did a little different to help them find a job. So now when I am going and finding executive talent, for any of my roles, and I reach out like to thousands of different people. They come and read this and say, hey, I see that, for example, Kevin Nielsen, like you can see what he's written here. Um, he's some of them looked at some of these things and came back to me and said, okay, your profile stands out better because I see that you've helped these many people do this thing, right? And so that
Mhm.
I've created my own um, footprint and saying how I stand out different to be different and help in my own skill, right? So, and the connections, okay. I have built connections across so many years. I have 29,000 followers, and and if you go into my profile and read it, I can tell you, you can see thousands of I mean, I keep posting all of the things that I've learned across and why it's important. This was a team that I built at Amazon. There were about 50 recruiters here. Through layoffs, half of them are gone. Half of them have gone to other companies. That means there are across 25 to 30 different companies other than Amazon right now. And now, when people have lost their jobs who are in really experienced positions, I've reached out to them and said, hey, this is a colleague, a friend of mine. Would you be able to get their resume across to the hiring manager, not just the portal where it's sitting there with thousands or 2,000 different applications? I reach out to them and say, can you just put them in front of the hiring manager? So that's one step extra that you're getting, right? That's
Mhm.
why a referral is important. That's why, especially when you are at the age of I am, it's only referrals, it's only people who know you, who, is going to help you more. And recent past, I've been trying to help quite a few people. And then also some of them, I help them only with their resume review, help them write their resume better. And then I ask them like, hey, how did you find this new job? Because they message me and say, thank you for your help with the resume. I found this job. And I'm like, okay, tell me what your experience is. How did you find this job? And 80% of the time it's been referrals and who they worked with. It's their network. And that's why I wanted to emphasize and continue to emphasize for parents, for students, for anyone, the power of networking is important.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I will probably reach out to you at some point to talk to you further, but thank you.
100%.
And Avinash, congrats on success at Microsoft at such a young age. It's awesome, man. Good job.
Yeah.
His mom's a mentor for me too.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's even though she's a in software development, the reason I have her as a mentor is I'm a manager. People management is such a hard thing. Politics within companies is such a hard thing. And then when you have mentors and others, you just brainstorm with them. You get a perspective, different perspective that you can leverage of how they worked in a hard situation and how do you learn from each other and try to like do better with what you're doing, right? Everyone's got a different kind of experience, and sometimes some experience will help you. They've already gone through certain experience. They'll give you like suggestions, do this, this can help you. Instead of you figuring out yourself, you have such good leaders and mentors that can help you do better in your own job. And I have my own mentees that come to me and ask me a lot of questions. And what makes me more really happy is when they come back and tell me how they succeeded from what they've learned from me. So, mentors, connections, I cannot tell you how amazing it is to have all of those. Start soon. Start soon with your LinkedIn profile. Collect all of your experiences in a doc. Even if you don't want to throw it into the resume, put it in a doc and I want to also show you one more thing. Sorry. Let me see. I hope whoever can stay. Avinash, I don't know. Do you have time or do you want to hop off?
Yeah, I have time.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to show you one thing that I've been doing recently for some of my friends in finding a job. And I can also send a copy of this. 1 second. Let me share my screen again. Can you see this Google Doc that I have? It's an Excel sheet. Are you able to see?
We're seeing your teams right now.
Oh,
Not yet. You just show me.
share screen. Now? Can you see my
Yep.
Excel sheet? Okay.
Yes.
This is a template. Like a lot of people have been coming to me and asking me for help. And I was like, you need to structure your own, progress. How do you know which company you've applied to, how many times you've applied to? You don't want to like bombard them. Each company has a rule too. If you look at Google and say, just go type in Google on Google and search and say, how many applications can I submit within a time frame? They only want you to submit 3 applications. After that, it'll stop. You cannot apply. So you have to make sure for such big companies what that is. Even in Amazon, I think it's capped at like 10 applications. After that, it'll tell you, go choose to remove yourself from one of these and then go apply to the other one. So it's important that you track what you're doing, right? So here's a sheet that I built, like, okay, what company is it? Date, role, link, somebody going to apply, or are you going to directly apply? Or would you need a refer? If you do have a referral that can refer you, and then tracking it, like, did I apply or did I refer? Who's the contact? Any notes? What's your progress? Similarly, this is the contact sheet that I was telling you all to build, right? The company, the link, the contact name, contact email number. If you found a role within that company, will they like, did you apply or did you get referred? Put it in there. If you get interviews, track it. What did you do? What didn't you do? What did you learn from that interview in case you didn't get it? What did you learn from the interview, no matter what? And collecting that data, or how do I strengthen, let's say 6 months down the line, I already interviewed for an X position with the X company. How do I make it better because I didn't get it the last time, right? If you don't know what you've done and it's all in your mind, you're not going to do good. I'm telling you. So put that in. Similarly, you can open up a sheet and start putting in all of your, like, let's say internship. I put that too, like internship at X company, put a date. What have you done there? Put it in a star format, like some of the examples. Again, the next company that you worked for, put it in there. All of this doesn't need to go into your resume, but why I'm telling you it's going to be important for you to just put in any even small accolade that you get is when you are interviewing. Amazon has 5 rounds of interviews with 2 minimum questions per interview. That means 10 different examples at a senior level positions, right? So 10 different examples you need, and you want not have the same example for every interviewer. Then this sheet becomes easy for you to go and look through and add as much as details as you can. This internship I did has X amount of employees at that company, and I did X. It scaled from X to X, or things like that. You're going to forget all of those little nuanced things that you did that company. If I need to go back to my LinkedIn profile, which is 23 years ago, and I need to think of an example because it could be a good fit for this role that I'm applying for, I will not remember. That's just human tendency to forget like this past experience that I've done. I mean, I will look at these key points and like, yeah, I did this, but I don't know how many candidates I placed at this when I was working here. What was what did I do different from someone else at this company back in 2006? But if you put it in this sheet, this will grow with you, okay? And you might not use it, you might use it, but I'm telling you, you're going to use it. So please make sure you do that too for yourselves. It's very important. Avinash, I know I have not told you that, but you should also do it. And I hope you do it too.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, doing it inside a job is also very valuable. Just
Yeah.
so you know exactly what work have I done. You can communicate that to your manager, especially helpful for promotions and things like that. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up. That is also a key. If you build this muscle from now, you are going to be your own advocate for your growth at any company. And this structure that you create for yourself, I have helped quite a few people who've been put on focus or pivots, etc., at companies to get out of it. And my mentees, this is what I teach them, like the importance of documenting what you've done, articulating it with your managers, always writing this up in an email and sending, hey, I did this week. This was my goal, and this is what I've done against that goal, is going to save your back from any job. You have to do that. It is important, like Avinash mentioned, even at your job right now. And then suddenly your manager says, okay, I'm going to write your promo doc. He's not going to have all of the information of every part of what you've done. You have to provide that. And this doc is going to be helpful for you to do that.
Can you send a template of that doc out for us to use?
Yes, I am going to. This is what I put, but I will I'll think through how to write. Like I'll pull my own template that I have with my manager and try to structure it and add, like, how do you add even your own weekly wins or monthly wins in there, and send it out this week. I hope you're registered though. This email will go to only the people who are registered through the link. So make sure you register and we'll send it out there.
Okay, silly question. Where is the link?
Uh,
You
let
can
me
just put it
pull-
in the last message in the chat again. If you could.
Sure.
We will reshare the link, Rohitji.
Any other questions for me or Avinash? I know today is our last session. Again, reiterating, I am happy to do one-on-one sessions with all of you. So please do reach out. More than happy to help each one of you with a one-on-one session with anything that you have questions with and continuing with it, right? Like if it's not today, please add me on LinkedIn. Just remind me you're from VT Seva, you were on my workshop because it's hard for me to remember all of you. But if you give me a little bit context, like I said, write your hook. Remember to write it. That way I know what exactly you're looking for and where you're from. That's my LinkedIn. Please connect with me. Avinash, I did put your LinkedIn also on the slides that'll go through, so they might reach out to you for help if anybody specifically wants to know a little bit on what he's done and what's helped. Again,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
thank you. See, I signed him up. You have a mentor already in the computer science field. Connections. See, one session you joined. There was, I think, a couple of parents here. If you want to throw in your LinkedIns too, that becomes a connection too. For others here. And each one of you, like, if you have your LinkedIns, throw it in here and we'll connect with you or share each one's connections. I'm going to pause again. Any questions? If not, we'll can end the call. Did anyone have any other questions? Amazing. Priyaji, do you want to
Yeah, sure.
take
Yeah,
over?
thank you so much, Bhavishyaji. It's really great sessions all these 4 weeks. Lots of information has been shared. So I hope like everyone is getting benefited by this and making sure like they are making a progress in their career search. And congratulations, Avinash, for joining in Microsoft. And thank you for a wonderful session. And from VT Seva, we would like to extend our sincere gratitude to all of our guest speakers. And special thanks to Harish and Kiranji also for the continued support on these sessions. And most importantly, we would like to thank all of the participants also for investing in your
Yes.
time to learn, grow, and taking the meaningful steps right toward your future. So your enthusiasm and engagement truly going to make this session successful. And as Bhavishyaji mentioned, there will be future sessions also. So please feel free to join them. And I believe Harish is getting the connectivity. Harish, would you like to share a few words?
Yeah, thank you guys so much for
Oh,
making
I
the
need
last
to
4 weeks.
actually, I
Oh,
want to say thank you to you first. He's studying, he's got his internship, but still helped me with all of these sessions and been, creating all of like the emails he's been sending to all of you, helped create the survey form. Shows so much, right? Someone's helping me with all of these, and Priyaji for um, doing all of these amazing flyers and posting everything for the videos too. Avinash, Arish, thank you for the videos. So really, really, if you guys weren't there, I don't know if would have been able to bring all of this content if I had to think through that too. So I really appreciate your support here. Thank you, Harish, and over to you.
uh, thank you. Yeah, thank you guys so much for making the last 4 weeks very amazing. We had lots of great sessions, and like Priji mentioned, huge thank you to all of our participants for showing up, especially every participant who came to multiple sessions back to back. I hope they were very useful, and we plan on doing more sessions just like this in the near future. So keep a close eye out on your emails and your WhatsApp for information regarding that.
Hi, Priya. I have a quick question. I wanted to, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to find out if if we miss previous sessions, is it possible to get the recording?
Yes, we will be sending out the recordings. Please do make sure to register in the link that I shared previously, because we don't want to miss out anything. We are capturing all the emails address that has been shared in the chat, but we still don't want to miss anybody. So please register. So we'll make sure all of the recordings will send out to all the registrants.
Oh, okay, even the previous ones that we missed.
Correct. Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
wonderful. Thank you so much. This has been fantastic, super helpful.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you for the kind words. Again, you can reach out to me for help. Thank you all for joining. Again, Harish and Priyaji, thank you so much. Please do let me know if you have any other questions. If not, all the best, all of you. And again, network and find your mentors.
Sure. Yeah. And one kind request to all of you. When you guys are receiving the email, please do feel free to share your experience. That will motivate us to bring on more sessions like that. So I'm pretty sure like it's all very useful, but we would like to hear from you so that it will encourage us to bring on more and more sessions like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyaji. That's one more thing that I wanted to ask all of you. I think in the beginning of the session, I did mention it, is if you want to see something else going forward, I'm planning to do these sessions once every month. Like, so the next session, I'm going to do it for adults, like, just career-wise, what you have to look for, growth, etc. So next month, we're going to do those. But the following month, again, will be, again, for the same age group. If you want me to specifically talk about certain things or bring guest speakers in a certain certain type of guest speakers, please do share that too, so I can create content around that. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Again, email me, connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'm here to help.